Hello everyone, this is Arun Arvind of Mentor Research. We have with us Vaibhav Vijay and Vidit Jain. Um, Vidit, just before we start the webinar, Vidit, can you hear us clearly?
I can. Can you hear me now?
Absolutely. So Vidit is going to be the moderator of this talk, and we will start off with us first introducing Vaibhav Vijay, who's calling from Paris at this moment, and then he'll take it forward from there.
All right.
Okay.
I welcome everyone to the session. Talking about Mr. Vaibhav, he is a professional CDS consultant working at Murex. He's based out of Paris right now, an IIT Delhi alumnus, along with an MIM from ESSEC Paris. So, along with that, he's also pursued and cleared the first two levels of the CFA exam. And with that, let's begin with the session. We welcome Vaibhav sir to the session. Hi, Vaibhav sir.
So hi everyone. Thank you Vidit for the introduction and believe
Right, sir. On behalf of the students and some of ourselves as mentors as well, I have a few questions for you. The first one being, you moved out of IIT Delhi to do an MIM at ESSEC immediately after graduation. Could you tell us a bit more about the value that you got from pursuing an MIM at ESSEC compared to working a few years and doing an MBA probably?
yeah sure. Um, actually MIM is it's very similar to MBA, but just the difference with MIM and MBA is you don't need a work experience to go to an MIM in comparison to MBA.
Just one second, Vaibhav. Vidit, can you mute yourself? I think that's a
Sure.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Vaibhav.
Yeah, so what I was telling about was MIM versus MBA. Since you said that I joined MIM straight after IIT, I mean, just to explain a bit about why MIM and what it gets you in the end. MIM is very similar to doing an MBA actually. Just the difference is you need to have a work experience. So it really depends on what your preferences are, right? So when I graduated at that time, my preferences were not to start working right away, but rather to go for higher education, and I wanted to shift to finance. So, but I think a lot of people are in the same situation when they are in their final year of studies. So you really have two or three options, right? You have either you can go for an MBA, which requires work experience. So of course, you need to work a bit before, or you can go for IIMs in India, or you can do an MIM abroad, right? So for me, I mean, MIM was a better option because I think international experience opens more doors for you, right? So that was one thing. And what, in terms of your question, like what it adds to your profile, what it what it really means, one of the big advantages of doing an MIM abroad is that it really puts you out of your comfort zone, right? If you're not in India, then you're not in your comfort zone, so you have to work that little bit extra to get everything that you want, which I think really helps you a lot in your career. You eventually end up knowing what you really want. You can make more informed decisions that way. So I think in that sense, it really enhances your overall profile. I'm not just talking about like your academic profile, but also your personal experiences. Then of course you meet a lot of people. You meet people from different countries, so you know more about different work cultures, different people. That is of course there. Yeah. Uh, that's about it from my side for this question with it. Can't hear you with it. I think you're on mute.
Right. Um, So you talked about a different work culture in European countries and how it really puts you out of your comfort zone. So the next question is, how different is the work culture in European countries like France as compared to India?
Hmm. So actually, I think it's actually quite different. Here, I mean, a big emphasis is on work and life balance. I mean, in India, I mean, you don't really have it that much. At least in my experience, what I've and my experience is limited to talking to other people, my friends, of course, because I haven't worked in India. Actually, I started working in Europe, so really don't have a first-hand experience of working in India. But what I understand is the difference is here you have more emphasis on your work-life balance. There's people give equal importance to your life and your out of the work activities as well. That's one of the big difference actually. In India, well, it really merges with your work life. Your friends are from your work, then you're working very late hours. Well, that's the case here also, depending on what you're doing. But again, you still have a lot of freedom, I would say. Here people are not micromanaging people who are working under them. So well, if you have a manager here, he will not really micromanage you or try to tell you what you should do every time on, or when you should be working, when you should take vacations and things like that. So those things are different. Those are some of the good things. But on the other hand, like there are some negatives also, of course. The negatives are that here it's more while it's true that if you work hard enough you will grow, but the growth in your job, it's a bit slower, I would say, as compared to India. In India, I mean, if you're working for a bank, for example, if you're doing good job, then your probably your growth of your career will be more faster than in Europe. But this I think is difference in terms of more Anglo-Saxon culture and more European culture, let's say.
Right. So, can you please elaborate a bit about the work profile that you have working at Murex? What is the usual set of activities that you go about?
Sure,
And
sure.
basically, what's your usual schedule at work?
Sure. So I'm working as a consultant in financial markets for Murex. So basically, I mean, first, what Murex does is we have a big platform, which is basically on this platform, all the financial markets activities of tier one and tier two banks. Usually, we have clients which are bigger banks. They conduct all of their financial markets activity on it. So what do I mean by that? They basically, when they're trading, they price their products on it, they book their trades on it, they manage their risks and their the monitoring their sensitivities and all of that. They do it through our platform. So it's the basically quant end for the bank. So basically, all the models and everything we provide that. So okay, that's the company basically. And for this company, what I'm doing is I'm doing consulting. So basically, I work on projects with banks and asset managers. And what we do is we implement our system. So we have some requirements for them. So for example, they would ask us that they want to monitor their market risk, for example. So for that, they will give us some like use cases. They provide us cases. What are their use cases? What they want to do, and based on that, then we design what should be the solution. What are the computations that they require? How will it be computed? What will be the market data required? What will be the eventual output? How will they use it? And all of it. Basically, this is my job, like working with the traders and the asset managers, and trying to figure out what the requirements are and how can we provide them a better solution from what they have. I mean, how can they improve on that? How can they have new things? How can they get new requirements? That's basically the core of my profile. So I work on projects only. So I move from one project to another, and that's usually my profile.
Uh, that sounds great, sir. As like a lot of engineers in India, you
Hmm.
also shifted from an engineering background to a background towards finance. So, what, in your opinion, would be a very effective way towards enhancing one's knowledge of finance beyond the regular classroom courses? Also, in addition to your MIM qualification at ESSEC, you have obtained levels at CFA. So, how all of that just comes together towards your career in finance, and how does shifting from an engineering background to a finance background work out?
Well, well, if you want to shift from a engineering background to a finance background, the most important thing, according to me, is understanding what you really want to do. Because saying that you want to work in finance is a very broad statement. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of profiles, and you should know, I mean, what you want to do. There are a lot of jobs which are corporate finance related. For example, equity research, I would classify it more in corporate finance. Then there is mergers and acquisition activities, other corporate finance jobs. Then there is trading and other market risk job. Right, you can be a risk manager, then you can be in consulting, what I'm doing. So basically financial markets consulting. So once you have a clear idea about what is available in the market, you should try to move towards that. So just to give you an example, if you want to go into financial markets, for example, then you should follow the news a bit. I mean, you can read about Wall Street Journal, Financial Times. Then when you're reading it, you should try to look up things what you don't understand. Try to understand what this means. What are the different factors and different players in this whole industry. That is one thing. Then another thing which I would say in terms of students who are studying in India is very important, is that you should know about what kind of different roles are out there. What I've what I've felt so far is that in India, when you're applying for a job, usually if you're from BITS or any IIT, then you already have your campus placement. So you don't really go out and look for what is out there, what kind of offers are there, what kind of roles are available. This, I think, is something which could be very useful. I mean, you should like go out and just see what different offers are there. Go visit any website, like any bank's website, see what jobs are they offering, what are the different profiles, what are the requirements for that. Just try to read up a bit on that, so that you can make a more informed decision. That I think is very important, because most of the people that I've encountered, well, no, I won't say most, but a lot of people that I've encountered, they don't really know, I mean, what they're saying. I've met a lot of people who say they want to work in financial markets, but they don't really know or understand what they're saying and what they want to do. This is typically the case when you're in India and you're an undergraduate, precisely because you don't really have a view of what is out there, because things are pretty easier than outside. You already get job offers, you get companies coming to you. You don't really need to understand and work hard to approach them. They approach you. So you need to balance this equation a bit if you want to move into finance, being from an engineering background. Then,
Right. Yeah,
then
go
what
on,
you
please.
asked about CFA, right?
Right.
So CFA is actually quite useful, but it's useful depending on what you want to do. If you want to work in equity research or if you want to do asset management, then CFA is really useful. It really adds to your profile, really gives you tools to be better at your job. But if you want to go into, for example, trading, then I would say CFA, it adds another line to your resume. It looks good, but it doesn't really add too much to your skills in terms of what is required on the job. Same goes for consulting a bit. I did CFA, but I find that it's not really useful in my line of work. Of course, understanding helps, but that understanding, I got that understanding from my courses at ESSEC also. I mean, CFA is very tailored course. It's very useful. It's very challenging. You study a lot of things. You get to know about a lot of things. It helps for sure. But if you are more focused on one field, then definitely you have to consider if it is really applicable for your case or not. Another
Uh,
thing, actually, what you can do is, to get into different things and trying to understand what you really like, is trying to participate in different competitions that keep happening. There are some competitions organized by
right.
CF Institute. There is a quant research challenge, and then equity research challenge. All of these things are very good. They're organized at a global level. They give you more broader picture of what kind of job really is there. I mean, if you're doing equity research, what is required? The level of competition is very high. The quality of different research reports that you get out of it is very good. So these kind of things are very good to do if you put in hard effort. If you put in hard work in these things, then you definitely learn a lot. You gain a lot of experience. So you should try to do more things like these. Try to participate in more competitions, interact with different people. I think that's the best way to go around trying to shift from an engineering field to finance or banking.
Right. That was a great insight. Along with that, how important do you think are the projects or the internships that one goes through while their time at college or even after that,
Yep.
towards probably shifting towards a new field or probably learning more about the field that you are in?
Well, I would say internships and projects are very useful, but uh, again, same thing. I'll split it into two answers actually. One for internships and one for projects. For internships, I think sometimes in India, when you go out for an internships, usually your your job, I mean, internships are not taken that seriously by students and sometimes by companies as well. So what you end up doing most of the time is it has not it doesn't have any significant impact on the outcome of the work, right? On the project that you're working on. So if that's the case, then of course, if someone is interviewing you, when I'm interviewing someone, if I look at the internship, what he has done, when I ask one or two questions, I immediately know what impact that does it have. I mean, did he really learn anything out of it, or was it just another line on his resume? So internships can have very good impact. They can make you learn a lot of new things, depending on how serious you are when you're looking for an internship. So if you know already that you're interested in something and you want to try it out, you want to work in some field just to gain some insights of what the work is like, to really know if you really like the work or not, then the best thing to do is go out and look for the internships yourself, or even the companies when you're coming on your campus. Just focus on certain fields that you're interested in, and read a bit about them. Be more informed about it, so that when you're finally do an internships, you know that you want to do it. You have a idea about what it will entail in the future for you, and what it can provide you. That in that case, it will have more impact, you know. When it comes for projects, I think projects really have more impact, because projects are the outcome of a project, and the fact that you are doing that project, it's all controlled by you. So it's really driven by your interest, what you want to do. And when you're really interested in something, you're sure to have more better outcomes out of it. You're sure to learn more out of it. You will put in some more efforts in it. So yeah, I think projects also have good impact on your future career, I would say.
Uh, so can that be summarized as a fact that one should give more importance to the quality of work they're doing as a part of an internship more than the
Hmm.
brand that they're pursuing as a part of the internship?
Both, I would say both. The quality as well as the brand of the company. The quality of work is very important, of course, because even if you're in a very good company, you're working for Goldman Sachs, for example, but you're doing some job which doesn't have that much impact, then of course your future opportunities are limited. It is not going to provide you more opportunities, right? But at the same time, if you're doing something very good, very interesting, but you're working for a company which doesn't have a good presence, I would say. It's not brand, but it's more about presence, I would say. If it doesn't have a lot of presence, then also it kind of constrains you in terms of what opportunities you will get. So I would say both of them are important, but yeah, of course, you should try to find a balance in both of them. Of course, brand is a bit important. It shouldn't be, but unfortunately it is, because when somebody is looking at your profile, they have to recognize what you're doing. And one of the way is the brand of the company, because people usually know what the company is, what kind of work there is. So yes, this it is a bit important, I would say.
Along with the course, along with the internships and the projects that one goes through, there
Hmm.
are basically people like to go through independent courseware like ERI, for
Hmm.
that matter. How important would a specialized course like ERI would be towards enhancing one's knowledge in the world of finance or probably any other subject matter?
Yeah. Well, This is very important, and it helps. Really, it helps a lot. Why I'm saying this, because it goes with whatever I was saying before about being more informed about what you want to do. Because I think this is the most important thing. if you know what you want to do, if you're working hard enough for that one particular goal, or like one or two things that you're more interested in, then you have a better chance of getting the desired outcome. And this is where like programs like ERI really step in. It's really catered to a specific goal, and then you really know more about insights of an industry. You have more insights of what different things are out there apart from the courseware that you're doing, right? And then you can make more informed decisions. So this really goes along with what I was saying before. I mean, I think this is very important. At least I've found it that way in my experiences, being informed about what you want to do.
Right. I'm sure that you're enjoying working in France for the past couple of years. So, are there any routines or habits that you followed as an undergraduate that helped you in the corporate world a lot? Basically surviving in a country like France in a competitive career.
Well, I will talk more about what I did, what kind of habits I had during my masters actually, because this is more aligned with what I'm doing right now. Because I was a civil engineering student back in IIT Delhi, so that was not really in line with what I'm doing now. So I think what I did here, it will be more useful. So in terms of habits, I had a very simple way to go about it. I used to be involved in different things at each point of time. Whenever I was doing a course, I was also doing something else along with that, just to have more knowledge about what things are out there. There were always something organized in the college. There were meetups, or there were well, things like this, these webinars and stuff. There were different competitions, and I tried to be involved in all of them all the time. There was always some project going on, either doing some internships or something like that. I used to be involved at each point of time on different things during my whole masters. So I think that is something which I help that helped me a lot, and I would say that would help you also a lot. And in fact, the fact that you are here and listening to me right now, this is just that it just proves that you're on the right track. So just yeah.
That's great. How different would be the skill set or the preparation
Mhm.
towards pursuing a foreign education would be as compared to probably pursuing an MBA in India?
Um, it's not about different preparation actually. It's more about if you want to pursue one course of one path or another, that I mean, you end up studying similar things, but you gain a different experience altogether. When you're in India, it's all you have to worry about is your studies. But if when you're abroad, you have to, especially if you're in Europe, for example, then there's a big language barrier. Then there are a lot of things that you need to cater to. You have to learn a new language. You have to keep up with your studies. There are different people, different cultures, so you have to keep up with all of that. So it's difficult, but it prepares you more for a more wider range of careers in future, I would say, as compared to if you're working in India, or doing an MBA, or you going to IIM for PGDMs and things like that. So it's a different experience, I would say. But in terms of preparations, I think it's more or less same. It's not that different actually. To do an MIM, you would give a GMAT, you would get GMAT, and then there will be interviews, uh, and then you will apply with some essays and answer some questions. But all of that, they're on the same line. You should be aligned with what you're saying and what you're trying to do, basically.
Right. You touched upon basically language barriers in European
Yeah.
countries. So,
Yes.
how important learning a foreign language like French or German might be? And adding to that, how does majority of your client transactions or take place?
Okay. So, well, I'll answer the client interactions part later on. But in terms of how much learning a new language helps, if you want to work in Europe, then learning a European language will help you a lot for sure, because there is undeniably a big language barrier. If you're, for example, example, if you're working in France, you need to speak French. Not that the work is in French, my work is completely in English, but when you're interacting with different people, you will speak in French. They will speak in French. So if you want to have social interaction, let's say, with other people, then you need to speak the language. Same goes for Germany, or even in Italy and Spain. It's even more. You need to speak the language, and the work will mostly be in Spanish or Italian. In France, mostly you can work in English, but again, you need to speak and understand French. Same goes for Germany. About client interactions, as I told you, most of my work, well, not most, actually, all of my work is in English. So when I'm interacting with clients, it's always in English. So there, I don't really need the language, but just to be a part of the company, I do need the language.
Uh, right. So, I guess that is all with the questions we have for you today. So let's conclude with a message that you have for the mentees who are viewing this seminar webinar.
Well, the message is very short, because you're all here, so that means you're already motivated. You know what you are doing. Just keep it up and keep working hard, and just make sure that you know what you want to do, and uh, try to move towards that.
All right. I guess that is it with the session. Uh, if Arun sir has to say something, I think.
Um, Thanks, Vaibhav, for your answers. I'll just make another attempt to uh, ask if the students who are listening to this call have any other questions. Um, One of them, Vatsal Shah, has a question. Are there any perks of joining a B school immediately after graduating out of a degree college?
No, not really. There are no perks. Depends on what you want to do. If it, and depends on what opportunities you have at the time you're graduating. And for example, when I was graduating, I didn't wanted to work straight away. I wanted to continue studying. So that was one of the things why I joined the B school, and I wanted to shift to finance. So of course, that made sense for me. There are no perks, I would say, but it's more about opportunities that you have at your hand. If you have a very good job offer in, for example, let's say investment banking, that you can pursue for 1 or 2 years and then go for an MBA, that's a very good option as well. It's just a matter of your choice and what kind of opportunities you have at the time.
Um, Putting yourself in the shoes of the students, assuming your target is to get to where you are right now, what would you have done differently if you are when you are in IIT?
What would I have done differently? Well, that's a bit of difficult question. Actually, I would have taken the same decisions in the final year at least. Before that, maybe I would have done some things more differently, but that's a different topic. But in yeah, after that, I think I would have taken the same decisions what I've taken so far. For me, it was very fruitful, because here, especially, I mean, there is if you come and study in France, I would say there are a lot of student-friendly initiatives by the government. I mean, when you come here, there are a lot of internships that are offered. That there is a concept of something called apprentissage, where if you get it, not everybody gets it, but if you get it, then the company basically sponsors all of your education, and you're working at the same time. So you get a salary, your fees is paid, you get education without paying anything, without any loan, which is great. And you're studying at a very good school, very renowned school. Well, like if you go to HEC, ESEC, they're very good schools. You can do a apprentissage over there, which is I think very good. You not having a loan on your head opens more opportunities. And after that, if you want to go for an MBA or a PhD, you're free to do that, and you have gained more experience. So basically, that's really helpful. I think this was one of the actually this was one of the more important factors why I chose to come to ESSEC, to to have an option of doing an apprentissage. This was very important for me, and I knew that from day one that I have to get an apprentissage. So I mean, there are a lot of things that you have to consider actually when you're making any decision, especially what to do after your graduations. And it's good to know what different options are out there.
So did you do an apprenticeship?
Yeah, I did an apprentice actually.
Okay.
That's what I did when I was in Sodexo. It was more in corporate finance. So what it helped me, apart from the experience, is really to pinpoint what I do not want to do. So for me, it was corporate finance. That was something that I didn't want it to do. I wanted to do something which was more quantitative, more in market finance. So that's what I'm doing right now.
So one of the questions is from Pranav. Why did you choose consultancy over financial jobs?
Sorry.
Why did you choose consultancy over other financial jobs?
Oh, because this was quite interesting because it's not repetitive. That's very important. That is something that I learned while working before. That having a job which is even slightly repetitive sometimes gets to you. You know, it's not that interesting. So if your job is very versatile, you're doing different things. When it is more challenging, it becomes more interesting. And this is one of the things actually that my job is not repetitive at all. In every project is completely different from what I was doing before. Most of the times I'm working on a different field. I did equity derivatives. I've done security finance. Then I've done market risk, which I'm currently doing, and I'm also doing credit risk. Credit risk in terms of, and you work on the cutting edge finance of the current day. So basically, when you're implementing all of these new solutions, that is the cutting edge things that are in the market. So it's very challenging. It's not something that you will find in any book. You have to adapt, you have to learn new things, you have to understand your client's requirements, and every client's requirement is very different from the other one. This is something which is very specific to consulting, which adds more flavor to the job, I would say.
And what percentage of the students get this apprenticeship?
It's pretty less actually. Every year there are I think 100 students out of a total of 1,500 or 1,600 students in total. I mean, this is not just one year; it's across all the years and different programs. But the number is limited for one college.
And what other colleges did you or would you consider of the same level as the one you attended for MIM?
There are three good colleges here in France. Actually, for MIM, France is one of the best destinations and one of the more known destinations also. This is where this program is the strongest actually. There is a college called ESCP, which is good. Then HEC and ESSEC, they're both very good, different but good. ESSEC is more flexible course. You can really uh, like create a structured course for you. You can choose your courses, you can choose the stream. HEC is more standardized. I would say it's not that flexible, but yeah, I mean, but they're both very good. They're both very known in market and add good value to your profile.
Okay, cool. Otherwise, I have nothing else. I don't think students have any other questions. In case some students come back with questions after viewing the video, especially with regard to the MIM or the other experiences that you elaborated about, we will direct it your way.
Sure.
Okay. Vaibhav, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. Thank you, Vidit.
Great.
It was great conducting this seminar. All right. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye bye.